today's video is going to be how to construct this cardigan without a pattern. You can base it to fit you in the best way that's going to fit you. You can adjust the size, the length, the sleeves, everything. So let's get started and I'll explain how to do it. First thing I'm going to do is insert a little clip from Saturday's video of me modeling this so you can see the overall look of the cardigan itself. Then we're going to talk about how it was constructed. So here is the sweater. Let me step back a little bit so you can see how far down it goes. It's right down to here, and here are the pockets. Actually, maybe I made this a little longer than the last one because it does seem like it goes down, but it covers the hips, which is a good thing. And then it has the lapel collar here that I can turn up if I wanted to. Otherwise, it just runs down the sides and it ends right here as a pocket. So it does not have buttons. I could have put buttons on it, but I don't tend to button my sweaters anyway. So I just prefer to have them left open. And there it is. I'll turn around so you can see the back. So that is my cardigan. So the first thing I did was take a few measurements. I measured my hips, or where I wanted the bottom of the sweater to fall. If you want a shorter, then, if you wanted it to end at your waist, then you're going to measure your waist. Wherever you want the bottom of the sweater to fall, that's what you want to measure. Then you want to take a measurement from your underarm down to that length. That way you know how much yardage or how much you're going to make before you get up to where the sleeves are going to be. And then you also want to take a measurement at the waist. If, like in the case of my sweater, it's at my hips. So I took a measurement of my hips, my waist, and then my shoulders. And you're also going to need a measurement for your arms, from your shoulder down to whatever length you want your sweater to be, whether it's 3/4 length, short sleeved, or long sleeved. Then you're going to make a swatch. Now a swatch is you're going to use the crochet hook and the yarn, and you're going to make a 4x4 inch square in the stitch you're going to be making. This particular cardigan is all done in double crochet. So I made a small swatch and realized I was getting I believe it was 3 stitches per inch. So this is a bottom up cardigan. So I measured my hips. We won't say what they were, but we measured my hips, and whatever that inch size was, I multiplied it times 3, and that told me how many stitches I was going to need to go around the bottom part of my cardigan. Then I took a measurement of my waist and knew at that point how much I was going to have to do decreases to make it a more fitted sweater, because I did not want a boxy type of sweater. I did not want the shoulders coming off of my shoulder either. So I will turn the camera around now and explain how this is all constructed. So here is the sweater completely opened up. This is the bottom that runs along here. So at 3 stitches per inch, I went all the way across, and I continued this. If my waist is like right up about here, so I knew I needed to do some decreases at some points in the middle of this to reach that decreased point by the time I hit my waist. So I just measured how much between the bottom of the sweater and where the sleeve started, which is right here, and I knew that between this distance to here, which looks like it's about 18, I don't remember what it was, but I would say it's probably around 18 inches. Over that 18 inches, I wanted to do a decrease so that it would fit better by the time it hit under my arms. So this is just double crocheted across, and like I said, I did decreases until I reached under the arm. So this is all done in one piece at this point. It's just going from one side, which is, this is one side of the front, all the way across to the other side of the front. So now I've laid the sweater out so you can get a better idea. So all of from here to the underarms again is all done in one piece, from this side all the way around the back and all the way over to here. By the time I get to the underarms, I've done enough decreases so that you can see it tapers in a little bit, so it's a little more fitted. So the next part, the lapel is attached later, so ignore this part. At this point I split the sweater into 3 portions: the back, this side of the front, and this side of the front. I just started crocheting back and forth here, and you can see, looking at it, I did taper it in so it has a V neck to it, and I wrote down the tapering in on just a piece of paper, so I made sure that both sides matched. And I just did a decrease. You know, you can do the decrease depending on how sharp you want this to be. I believe I decreased like 1 stitch every row on both sides. So there is that side, and then I did the same on this side, and then the back was basically going back and forth for the back, and I didn't have to do any tapering there at all. It was just strictly coming up the back. At that point, once I finished that, I attached the shoulders right here. I just sewed them across, and I did an over stitch like this so that it would hold, because this is a lot of weight. This is a heavier, bulky yarn. This is homespun, so it does have some weight to it. So I made sure any of the stitching that I did the loop over, so it would give a little bit more strength. So I did both shoulders, and then I picked up all of the stitches around the edges, because otherwise it would have looked like a sleeveless sweater. And I just picked up the stitches, and I believe I picked up, for my size, I picked up about 69 stitches all the way around, and I decreased them. As you can see, the sleeves get narrower. I decreased them by 1 stitch every other row, and I ended with, I believe it was 32 stitches. And this is where you would be measuring from your shoulder down to your wrist if you want a long sleeved sweater, or if you want short sleeved, you know, whatever length sleeve you want, you know, 3/4 length, you're going to measure from your shoulder down so you know how long to make the sleeve itself. So that is what I did for the actual sweater. The lapel, I started at this end, and this is all sewn on. This was not attached to this by crocheting. I sewed the lapel completely separate and then sewed it on. So I began at this end, and you can see it ends right about here. I did 19 stitches across, and it's a good sized pocket, as you can see. It very comfortably fits my hand. So I did 19 stitches, and I did that for 3 rows, and then I started decreasing 1 stitch a row until it narrowed down to 8 stitches. And then I just kept measuring it up against the edge of the sweater, and it goes all the way up and around and then down again. Now what I did at this point, I stopped crocheting when it would be widening back out again, because I didn't want to do decreases. I didn't want to do increases coming from this direction. I felt more comfortable doing the decreases, so I just stopped the lapel here, and I started a whole other one, and again started with the 19 stitches. I wrote down what my stitch count was for this side so I could mimic the exact same thing on this side, and then I sewed the 2 together right here. When it decreased down to the 8 stitches, I attached it to the rest of the lapel, and then I sewed the lapel on. I started, because I had 3 rows here that were 19. I didn't want to have this open right here. I wanted a little bit of a pocket, so if I put something in it, it's not going to fall out. So those 3 rows of 19 stitches I sewed right here, and then I came across and sewed the lapel on all the way around to this end, sewed it down here, came across and then went up those 3 rows on this side, so that, like I said, if I put something in the pocket, it's not going to fall out. The lapel is completely optional. I just thought it gave it a more finished look, and I can pull the collar up around my neck if I want to. But it's not necessary to put that on. You could just put individual pockets, or you could just leave it plain if you wanted to. So I hope that has been helpful. You can adjust this to your own size just based on what your swatch is per inch and doing a little bit of measuring, but then you have a custom fitted sweater that fits you perfectly. So hope this has been helpful. If it has, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you again next Saturday. Thanks for watching. Bye.